Hello, welcome to Law and Order. My name is Martia Umar. Today on the show, we will be discussing child pornography and the Child Rights Act. You know, this kind of side-by-side and rights being violated. But let's take a look. Let's go retrospect to last year on the 1st of February, precisely on 2021. Men of the Nigerian police force arrested 7 suspects for multiple adoptions and child pornography. They were accused of taking advantage of underage girls whom they sexually abused, made video recordings of their acts and shared on an international social media group known as Pervertiders. Now, Nigeria is a signatory to several international legal instruments which prohibits the involvement of children in pornography. One of such instruments is the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, which Nigeria did not only ratify, but also domesticated by the enactment of the Child Rights Act. But despite the adoption and enactment of these laws, report of child pornography and other forms of child rights violation continues to be on the increase. It's really a thing of concern for the kind of videos you see on the internet about children or that are even circulated on the internet involving children in Nigeria. And there have been an explicit video about minors from Chrisland Academy, which went viral recently. It broke the internet and a lot of people have been reacting. And, you know, you try to understand what's going on, who's to blame for all of this, the parent, the society, and even the law is being dragged into it because the law cut across every aspect of our society, every aspect of our lives, if I can say that. And of course, the lawyer will confirm that as we go on the program. But today on the show, we will get to know who a child is for us to understand all of this, what constitutes child pornography in Nigeria, penalty and aiding, if there's penalty for aiding and abetting for child pornography, and much more. That's what we'll be looking at today on Law and Order. To discuss this, I have a legal practitioner in the studio. We're being joined by Arome Abu, Esquire. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, my dear.
So, you know, for us to get to know what child pornography is all about, what constitutes it, we need to understand what who a child is in Nigeria. And, you know, there have been a lot of definitions. Some people will say when you're 14, some people say when you're 18. But according to the Nigerian law, who is a child?
Okay, like you said, you're correct. There are different legislations that define who a child is. However, the Child Rights Act is the primary legislation that, you know, regulates child life, and it defines a child as a person under the age of 18.
So somebody who is under the age of 18, regardless of, you know, the physique, because somebody will say, oh, this person is kind of looks more than 18. So regardless of how the person's how the person looks, the person is regarded as a child as long as you are under the age of 18.
Now, we understand that by the time we begin to, you know, reflect backwards, when we were 15, 16, 17, we were able to make certain key decisions. Okay. Although in the eyes of the law, we were considered children. However, it doesn't mean that, okay, because you're 18, you are in the ordinary sense of things, you're considered a child and unable to make decisions. It is the law that pegs, you know, the age of majority at 18. So once you're below 18, you're considered a child in the eyes of the law. However, in the strict sense of things, you are not, you can make decisions, you can make rational decisions, yes. So, but in the eyes of the law, once you're below 18, you're considered a child.
So is this contained in the Child Rights Act?
Yes.
Like for a child to make certain kind of decisions with maybe consent of the parents?
No, this is me just saying that in the eyes of the law, a child is a person under the age of 18. However, you can, the fact that you meet a lady, she appears, you know, big, fully developed physically, it doesn't mean she is an adult. You wouldn't take or relate to that person as an adult. But in the eyes of the law, the age of majority is 18 and above.
Okay. So, you know, when we talk about child pornography, it's kind of very dicey. You know, a lot of people will not want to talk about it. And I always say that we have conversations in this country, in the world, that a lot of people shy away from. And it now makes us not understand where somebody is trampling on other people's rights. A lot of videos have been circulating about children in very illicit manner or illicit act, you know, contained in those videos. And now, how do we understand child pornography, and when do we say that this has happened, or when do we point to a video and say this is child pornography?
Okay, over the weeks I've heard different definitions and interpretation of what child pornography is. But the Cybercrime Act has helped by, you know, defining and, you know, regulating what child pornography is. And by virtue of the provision of the Cybercrime Act, child pornography entails the visual portrayal or depiction of a child engaged in sexual or sexually related activity. So when you visualize a child having sexual intercourse or engaging in any sexual activity, or the act goes as far as, you know, describing a child appearing naked without clothes in a sexually suggestive manner, that alone is sufficient to ground the offense of child pornography. Also, visualizing maybe a cartoon character of a child having sex, not necessarily a human being. You know, the visual of a child or the appearance of a child, you know, engaged in any sexually explicit behavior or habit or conduct is what amounts to child pornography.
Now, a lot of things happen when we talk about child pornography. Like when I introduced the program, we talked about some group of suspects that were arrested for multiple adoptions and child pornography. Made a video of, you know, this act and was circulating on social media, and that's like a norm in the society now. I was amazed when I saw some videos of children, you know, circulating the social media, you know, termed as child pornography. But a lot of people do not know that not just, you know, children, but, you know, animations of children is termed as child pornography. So when do we draw the line between, you know, the rights of these children and child pornography?
Now, under the said Cybercrime Act, it talks about production, possession, and distribution. So, by production, it means you recording. You can be held guilty of the crime. You keeping or storing in your storage device, and as well distributing. So these are the things that determine whether you have violated the provisions of the law or not. So over the weeks, we saw a lot of people, you know, tweeting and retweeting. You understand? Some of them I want to feign ignorance, but by distributing, you can be said to have committed an offense.
What about commenting? You did talk about people retweeting and commenting on such videos. Have they committed any form of crime at all?
Well, now we all have responsibility as citizens to report crime.
Okay. And
failure to report might be, you know, deemed as a concealment of crime. So I don't want to drag the law. You know, areas where where we apply concealment of crime is okay. Maybe when you witness rape, you witness armed robbery, you refuse to report to the authorities. However, you're tempting me to, you know, drag the limits of the law to cover instances whereby you comment and you fail to report to the authorities. So maybe yes, we might want to drag the law, you know, to cover such instances whereby you see that kind of thing. It is a crime under the law, and you fail to report to the authorities.
So to me, they're committing some sort of crime because, yes, I think they're aiding and abetting, because if you're commenting, yes, and then you see something ill in the society and you're not reporting, I think they're kind of promoting.
Yes, I agree with you. Aiding and abetting is when you volunteer items, weapon items, for a potential criminal to use in committing crime.
Okay.
You understand? While abetting is, knowing that such crime has taken place, and like I said, you condone it. You refuse to, or you fail to report to the authorities.
Okay. So one of the agitations of the said video, the parent, one of the mother, so to speak, one of her agitations was the fact that the school hid this from her. They never told her anything about it until maybe a few weeks after, maybe something led to the other, and then she got to find out about the video.
Yes.
Can we say that the school was following the Cybercrime Act of not maybe sharing or not even talking about it? What can we say about the action of the school?
Now, the school failed on two grounds.
Okay.
First, the moral ground, and two, the legal ground.
Okay.
The moral ground in the sense that teachers are seen as having or coexisting with students or they are seen as having a fiduciary relationship with their students, and they have that responsibility. It confers a responsibility on them, when that kind of thing occurs, to notify the parents.
Okay.
You understand?
That's for the moral ground.
That's for the moral ground.
Okay.
They have a duty, to inform. First thing, for me to entrust my child under your care in school, it behoves of you to, notify me if the welfare of my child is under threat. That is on the moral ground. However, on the legal ground, if it is true that the school saw the video of what happened and failed to notify the authorities, then they can be said to have abetted the crime.
Okay, maybe that was what led to the closure of the school. Anyway, investigations are still ongoing on what really transpired between these minors and the videos.
For the closure of the school, for me, I don't see the need.
Okay.
Now, the area in crime, the areas you cordon off and you close are, the place, crime scene, the place where the crime took place. First, the crime did not even take place in Nigeria.
Okay.
So I think the school was just trying to play to the gallery to get public applause and plaudits, because the crime did not take place within the four walls of the school. So I see no reason why the Lagos State government decided to close down the school. Okay,
that is a lawyer in you speaking. I can say when you're in the law court, you slug it out with words, and I think that's the lawyer in you speaking. But let's go for a quick break. We will be back. Do stay with us. Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. You're still watching Law and Order on Trust Television, where we talk about legal matters, talk about your rights, where it starts, where it ends, and of course, talk about things that concern you as a citizen of the country. I'm talking about your rights. If it's been trampled upon, what you need to do, how to seek redress. We discuss it on the program Law and Order. For you to watch this program again, that's if you're just joining, you've missed a lot. You can get to our YouTube page, it's Trust TV on YouTube, and you can watch Law and Order. All you have to do is search for Law and Order, and you can watch this again or other episodes of Law and Order. And for comments, you want to ask questions, you can drop them on our comment section on all of our social media platforms. And before we went on that break, we were talking about child pornography. We're trying ways that we can curb this. People who circulate videos, like the lawyer in the studio said, circulate videos of child pornography, anything that has elements of child pornography, of course, you're indicted. It's a crime in Nigeria. But let's continue the conversation. But before then, thank you so much. Arome Abu Esquire. I try as much as possible not to put the barrister first, but I'm so used to this barrister thing. But it's good. Thank you so much for being on the program.
Thank you so much.
So now, this video this is not the only video on the internet. And I remember that the video was pulled down, and you know, this keeps happening. We have this, and then somebody's tracing to pull it down. Why do we have a lot of people engaging in this? Is it that people do not know about these laws guiding the children, or they don't know about the Child Rights Act? What do you think we're lacking as citizens?
Well, like it is common knowledge now, not to just lawyers, but to every citizen of this country, that ignorance of the law is not an excuse.
Okay.
Now, going forward, I think the authorities, the law enforcement agents, need to do a lot. The video the Chrisland School video that was circulated by different people, we saw a lot of people posting it, some tweeting, some retweeting. And we have a law that caters, that regulates, criminalizes this kind of situation. However, there was no arrest, there was no investigation, there was no prosecution. In the theory of punishment, there's something known as deterrence.
Okay.
What deterrence does is that it allows a potential criminal that's not committed any crime yet to see the experience or the punishment that is being meted on someone who has committed a crime.
Okay.
And either by fear, he will now desist from it. But in Nigeria, we hardly see people being, you know, prosecuted. I expected to see 1 or 2 arrests at least before people pulled it down. You know, I expected to see 1 or 2 arrests being made.
Maybe ranging from the person who posted the video in the first place.
Exactly.
And people who have been retweeting and commenting and sharing on different platforms.
Yes, because these are ways we can sanitize our society. At the end of the day, if you see people being arrested and prosecuted, it's going to be made public, and people will become aware, people will begin to desist from this kind of patterns. And
don't you think a lot of people make mistakes when they say, we're actually posting this or sending this to different WhatsApp groups or any other social media platforms for people to learn? Is that an excuse?
Posting what exactly?
Posting the videos, you know, these explicit videos of children.
In fact, we need to know that even the social media, they have with the different social media platforms, they have regulations. There are things that are not even allowed on the platform in the first place.
But yet, this video trended for more than 24 hours.
Yes, most of the time, other users have to report these videos before they are pulled down. So you saying you're posting it for others to learn, or maybe you're posting it for it to come to the knowledge of the authorities. Why do we have the authorities? You can as well take the video to any of them. We have the NAPTIP, we have the police that has the wide powers to investigate any kind of crime. So it is not good excuse that you are posting it for the public to be aware or to learn. It is not.
Okay, so now the Child Rights Act is being dragged into all of this because the rights of these children need to be protected. How can we protect the rights of these children? Because like it or not, the video circulated, and at some point these victims are being traced to their account, and you know, it's like, you know, their rights are being trampled upon. I'm not justifying the act. I do not want to play the trading of blames and or play the game of blaming right now. So how do we protect the rights of these children?
Okay, the first way to protect the rights of the children is the one I just talked about,
okay,
which is ensure that the laws are not just there.
Okay.
Ensure that in subsequent violation of this right, subsequent posting of child pornography is visited with arrest and investigation and prosecution. That is the first way to protect the right of the child. And secondly, let me step out of my shoes as a legal practitioner and speak like a moralist for a minute. Parents have a role to play, and the role is that if at all your child, there's been different debates over social media as to whether a child should have a child who has not gone into the higher institution should have a phone. Now, if at all your child should have a phone, if you're a proponent of the fact that your child should have a phone, regulate the sites they visit.
Okay.
Regulate the applications they use. Regulate and monitor the persons they speak with, these phones. And also educate the children, educate your children to be able to find confidence in you, to speak to you whenever one uncle or auntie is talking to them or touching them in an inappropriate manner. So the parents have a lot of role to play to sensitize, educate, and help their children to, speak up whenever these things happen. Also, television programs. Parents need to monitor the kind of programs the children watch. Those kids, those kids in the Chrisland video, they were playing a game, from what I heard, Truth or Dare. You understand? These are things I believe they must have learned from adults, either at home,
on the
phone, or television. I don't want to mention any program in particular, but I believe they must have seen it somewhere. So parents have a lot of role to play, and like I said, the authorities also have a role to play in ensuring that people pay for their crimes. You understand?
The judiciary in particular,
yes,
they have a big role to play. Most of the times, we keep trading blames. I'm sorry to say that, but when you get to the police will trade the blame. So, oh, we have done our investigation, we've handed over everything to the judiciary, but the case is still lingering. We've not seen any arrest made. We need to go ahead for us to make arrests. What would you say should be the role of judiciary in curbing the circulation of child pornography, encouraging child pornography, and protection of the rights of the girl child or any other child in particular? I don't know why I said girl child, but children in general.
Now, in criminal law, there are different actors. We have let's not limit it to the police because there are different law enforcement agents. We have the law enforcement agent, and their duty is to carry out the arrest, investigate, present the suspect to the court for trial.
Okay.
So you cannot blame the judiciary until you've done your investigation, you've brought the child to the court. And most of the time, the prosecutors don't help matters. It's either they are coming to court, from my own personal experience, it's either they come to court.
From cases that you've handled? Cases
I've handled, okay. Yes. They come to court, they tell you that our witness is not ready.
Oh.
Or I'm overwhelmed, I have matters in different courts. You understand? So the problem starts there. So they cannot put the entire blame on the judiciary. Yes, the judiciary is swamped with a lot of cases, and they are trying their best. However, and we understand, we recognize that there are usually delays. However, the law enforcement agents also have a role to play. They have to carry out the investigation, present the matter before a court. Okay, like this one we are talking about, no matter, nobody was arrested, which means nobody is going to be tried before you even start blaming the judiciary. So there are different actors. Judiciary is one. The law enforcement authorities are another, part of the process.
Okay. All right. So thank you very much. If not because of time, there's still a lot to talk about regarding this topic. And of course, a Cybercrime Act is a lot. I think the Cybercrime Act that talks about child pornography,
yes,
and subsection 23 of the Cybercrime Act.
Yes,
anyway,
yes.
Okay. The lawyers know how to put this.
And the punishment, for those who care to hear,
yes,
is for recording and distribution, recording and sharing. The penalty is 10 years imprisonment or 20 million naira fine.
For just sharing the video? For
recording.
Recording, all right.
And for sharing.
Okay.
Then for keeping, for storing in any of your device, for people that save or went to screen record or to snap, for keeping it, the penalty is 5 years imprisonment or 10 million naira fine.
For having it on your phone?
Having it on your phone, yes.
Some people would say that it's my phone, I can do whatever I want with it. Now you understand where your right stops and another person's right begins. Yes. Well, thank you so much for educating us about this. And the penalty aspect, very, very important. Yes. Thank you very much, Arome Abu Esquire, for being on the show today.
Thank you, Maria.
All right, and that's it on Law and Order for this episode. Remember that you can watch us anywhere in the world. All you have to do is just log on to our YouTube page, search for Law and Order, and drop your comments. If you have questions, do not worry. We'll bring it on the program and then we'll get to answer the questions. Thank you for being a part of the program. I am Martia Umar. Remember that ignorance is not an excuse in a court of law. Thank you once again.